Hey, what's going on everyone? Joel Wallace here. So today I'm going to talk about the Blackmagic, the URSA Broadcast Camera with the Fujinon 8 to 128mm lens. And this lens is only available with the Blackmagic URSA Broadcast Camera as a bundle. So I'm going to tell you what the benefits of this camera and why, and how it should be used with documentaries or multicam setups or within churches or concerts, you name it. So let's just jump in and we'll start from there. So you might be asking me, what's so special about this camera that's different from other cameras? Well, to begin with, this is a broadcast camera or an ENG camera. That stands for electronic news gathering, like you see your cameraman out, in the news or a documentary. This also can be used in studios. There's a lot of features within this camera that a cinema or a DSLR camera doesn't have. The unique thing with Blackmagic is that they want to be able to have their cameras as rugged as possible. So let's just say something happened to your camera out in the field and now you broke the power on button. Cool thing is that you can actually go into the camera and there's two buttons down here with the record and the fast forward, and you can just hold those two at the same time and it'll power on the camera. Pretty much every feature that's inside of the menu is on the outside of the camera, so you can fully control the camera from the outside of it, and you can control it inside of the menu of the camera. Pretty cool features to have that capability. Where take like this Canon 5D, if we want to be able to record, we only have one button to record video. What happens when that breaks? I mean, it rarely happens, but when you're shooting in the extreme environments like a documentary or in news chasing hurricanes, you want to have those extra features. You can also set the white balance. Say on A, we would be setting that to be white balance for indoors, and then we're going to be going outside all in one shot. Then we can set the white balance to B for the outdoors. So as we're going through the door, we can immediately just toggle the switch to go over to B. Versus on our DSLR camera, we don't have that capability of switching our white balances on the fly like that. You have record buttons in multiple spots, one on the outside of the camera on the side, one on the back of the zoom rocker where your thumb lives next to the handle. You have one on the touchscreen. You also have one inside where you have your menu control. And then for recording with the camera, there's several ways that we could do this. One, the camera natively has CFast 2.0 card slots. You can also record with SD cards. And then another cool feature is that you could use the SSD add-on for the camera. So this would actually mount to the back here, and then your battery would go onto the back of this. And then that would allow you to be able to use an SSD to be able to record to. Some huge savings that you can get with the SSD and longer record times. The other thing that's going to stand out with these types of cameras is they use a VCT style for their tripod quick release plate. This will allow for the camera to be on and off the tripod quick like for you. Some huge big differences that you're going to see out of this type of camera versus the DSLR cameras is you're going to see battery. Because when we're out in the field, we really need a lot of juice and we can't be swapping out batteries like we do on some of the smaller DSLR cameras. They just don't last very long. These cameras here, they use either V-mount or gold mount. This one is the V-mount by Core Swix. It's their HyperCore 150. And this is going to be able to give us additional power accessory ports. By that, what I mean is D-tap. The VLock plate from Blackmagic, this one gives us one D-tap out. Our battery as well has a D-tap port. We also have a USB on this battery. So for example, with the D-tap, we need to have an onboard light. Say we're chasing a hurricane and all the power's out and we're shooting a report and there's no electricity around. We can easily plug in a D-tap cable and now we can power our camera light. With our DSLR cameras, we're probably going to get maybe an hour or so or more of battery time, and it's just a tiny battery. I don't see any D-taps or any other ways to be able to power any accessories. So again, we're kind of limited. We're going to need to add on additional parts in order to build this camera out to be something like this. This has XLR built into it. With a DSLR camera, you only have one mic input, so now you're going to have to use an audio mixer. So with these types of cameras is that it really is a one person that's operating everything within the camera. So we're going to get, again, that XLR for audio. We're going to have our professional audio inputs. The cameraman can then monitor the audio and be able to adjust it. We can still adjust it from the outside of this camera, and as well as that inside the menu, we can adjust the audio within the menu as well. We're also gonna have ND filters. That's neutral density. So it's kind of like wearing sunglasses. It's gonna cut down the light. So we have 4 options. We have clear. Then we can have our next step, which gives us 2 stops to be able to cut down. Third option is gonna be 4 stops, and then our 4th option is gonna be 6 stops. So that'll allow us to really control the light without having to go back to the camera and now add on filters on the front or do a matte box. Different places to use this gear, but again, this is gonna be an all-in-one style camera. Other ways this camera is used in multi-camera setups or in studios. We can control the camera from in the director's room up at the director's board. We can now control the cameras. If we have multiple cameras, we can control them all, set the same white balance for the camera, set the same iris, you get it. You have all those capabilities in a studio camera that you're gonna get out of this camera here with that too. The Blackmagic URSA Broadcast Camera also ships with the B4 lens turret, so it's not going to come natively with an EF mount or PL mount. This one will be already set up for using with like broadcast lenses. All right, so now jumping over to the lens. This is the Fujinon LA16x8 to 128mm 4K lens. Big features that you're automatically going to see right off the gate with this is that you're going to have a zoom rocker. This is going to allow you to be able to zoom out, zoom in. You're not going to have to worry about when, say, for example, you're shooting on a DSLR lens, that when you go to zoom in, your focus changes. Whereas on this lens with the Fujinon, when you go to zoom in, you set your focus, you zoom out, everything's going to be in focus from there. So it's parfocal. You can use this in a church setting, for example, and what you're going to gain out of this is that you're going to have a really nice, good quality lens that you're going to be able to do that long distance shot. So say, for example, you had a PTZ camera, and if you don't know what PTZ stands for, that's pan, tilt, zoom. So you have a PTZ camera off to the right, we'll call that camera 1. Camera 2, we have this bad boy right here, and then camera 3 we have off to the left. So this would be our long shot to be able to get the pastor, or if there's a guitarist up on a stage or whatnot, this would be a really good lens to be able to zoom in and follow that subject. And then you'd have your other 2 cameras on the side be your cutaway cameras, or those can do some zoom ins and do some zooms out, but this would be a really good lens for kind of all around in that scenario for getting your long shots in a church. Another really cool, unique thing that I discovered with this camera when I was playing around with it, how do you set the back focus? What's really cool with this is that this one electronically does it for you in a way. It's super simple. You'll hold a button down for about 5 seconds. The camera lens zooms in, you pull your focus, then you hit the button again, it zooms out, you pull your focus, hit the button again, and you're done. Pretty simple. It's just taking out a lot of the process in the back end of having to set the back focus and then setting the front focus. It's electronically doing the back for you. You still will definitely want to use a focus chart, and if you don't have one, you can easily print one off the internet or just use an object roughly about 10 feet away. I'll post up and have another video that I'm going to post up of how to set the back focus for this camera, and I'll put a link in here somewhere, one of these corners down here for you, or else I'll put it in the description. This lens has a macro built into it, so with a slide of the focus ring, we could slide it forward, and now we're in macro for getting those extreme close-up shots. With the DSLR lens, we're going to have to change out our lens to a macro lens and then switch back as we're going through different shots. Again, coming back all in one camera, it has it built in. Other features you're gonna have is that you're gonna have a manual iris ring, as well as you can have this go to automatic as well. There's a button on the front that you can actually have it set to automatic iris or manual iris, but it's nice to always have that ring to be able to do the fine adjustments yourself. Other features, we kind of covered about having the servo zooms, the rocker to be able to zoom in and zoom out. We can also turn that off, and then we can do those whip lash kind of style zooms. So for stylistic or like in a documentary reality TV show, we can easily zoom out, zoom in to get those cool effects or that shots that we want. It's a little tougher with these cameras to be able to do that. It is sort of possible. I've done it before. It's it's okay, it works somewhat okay, but not as cool as how this turns out. And then another cool feature that this lens has the capability of doing is being able to add in a rear zoom and focus control. And what that means is that in a studio, what you can do is instead of having to physically go up and adjust focus from here, you can have this up on your sticks or your tripod or on your studio boom, and now you can control zoom, you can also control your focus. So pretty cool features with that, and that's more of in a studio application. So this really is a pretty sweet combination that you get with this package for either documentaries, E&G, multicam studios, church live streamings, you name it. If you have any questions or if there's anything that I didn't cover that you'd like to know, feel free to ask away in the comments. I'll also put my email address down below in the description for you. I'll also put the whole build that I've got going on with the camera and everything that you saw in this video. I'll put all the links down below as well. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you.